him and have him next to my bed. And then, and then when he'd start snoring, I just hucked shoes at him so I didn't have to get up. And eventually, he'd wake up and, curse at me, and then he'd roll over. So it would stop, stop snoring. So yeah, it worked great. It was a good system.
That's the Dubs approach. He just throws stuff. Well, first he starts yelling. He'll go, hey!
Trying that approach.
Scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, right. Roll over.
Oh, that's sad.
The ways to stop snoring. That's what we need some tech for.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Trends with Benefits, our weekly podcast where we gather a roundtable of experts to talk about the tech topics of the day. And if you're listening via podcast, you can always send us an email. But if you're watching live, we want to hear what you want to say, what you want to talk about. If you have comments on things, how you stop people from snoring, go ahead and drop those comments there into the video. Got a bunch of things we're going to get to today. We have the world's slowest airplane. Well, not even an airplane. The world's slowest air crash that we've got. No one was hurt. You'll know what we're talking about here in a minute. We've got an edible battery. We've got some news with WhatsApp. And, of course, we're going to talk about Tesla. But let's see who we've got on the roundtable today. I'm your host, Greg Nibbler, and to my right...
My name is Rick Stella. I'm one of the staff writers here for DT.
Excellent.
Hey, I'm Nick Moke. I'm the managing editor at DT.
Awesome. And the guy who's heading off to Germany on Sunday and apparently
WhatsApp.
snores a lot.
I'm Caleb.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
That was a good
WhatsApp with that.
Look, I haven't been here for a while, so I have like this huge load of puns that I just need to
Do you have a
unleash?
Huge load of puns?
Great.
There you go, everybody.
This is going to be great. Yeah.
Be prepared. Not safe for work. All right. So we'll talk about IFA here in a little bit, too, because Caleb's heading to Berlin, so we're going to get into that in a minute. But let's talk about Tesla. Big news over this week. Well, at least an announcement from them, a big claim from them, in that they have developed a new battery for their Model S and Model X, I believe. It's good for both, where they've increased not only the distance you can go by quite a bit, they've also now claimed that they are the fastest production car in the world, the quickest production car in the world, that they can go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. There's some dispute about that, about whether they actually are, because Ferrari and I think Lamborghini.
No, the LaFerrari and the Porsche Spider 918.
Porsche Spider 918.
But they're not in production anymore. That's why,
right?
right?
They're not in production. They're hard to get, and they're
expensive.
exponentially more expensive.
So on a technicality, they may have that right. But still, I mean, this is a pretty amazing accomplishment that you have an electric car that can actually do this. And the publicity they're getting off of this, I would think, it's going to start to reach other markets or other people who may not have been interested in Tesla before, just to, the general people who have discounted it like, it's an electric car. Yes, Tesla is very awesome, and we here all love it, just from the tech side of it and the production side. But I don't know if it's really entered mainstream as of yet. To me, I think this is something that can put it into mainstream. Just a claim like that will bring it so much attention.
Well, not only that, but the whole idea, and they stated this right on their blog, the reason why they need the P90D, the P95D, and now the new car is the P100D. Everybody keeps forgetting there is a new model now, a new car. It's not just a new battery system, although that's pretty much what makes the new car. But these expensive ones that cost like $125,000 or whatever are paving the way for the Model 3, which is going to be the affordable everyman's Tesla. At what, 35,000 or something like that. Yeah, and I mean, they can't make that car unless some Richie Riches buy this particular version.
And they were open about that, which I was surprised.
Yeah,
he was
totally
like, "We need the money to build, Model 3s, and we, I know it's over $100,000, but we need the help to do it." So, which he stated, I think, from the beginning that he wanted to make something that was inexpensive and affordable for everybody to get into electric. I think the range is probably the most impressive. Over 300 miles on
315
one.
miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is more, I mean, that is really impressive. I will say this, the Model 3, yes, it's a little more affordable, but they did open up that they have a leasing option. Still not that affordable. I mean, it depends.
Like $700 a month, was that what it was or something?
Yeah.
The lease is on the Model S until the Model 3 is available.
Right.
That's what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So they're basically trying to give people that are really into this now a 2-year bridge until they can actually get their Model 3. And that's like a $600 a month lease or something like that on the Model S until the Model 3 is available. Which is still not super affordable.
And you still have to put in a big deposit. It's, I believe, a
$6,000,
$6,000, $6,000, and a 10,000 mile per year limit on it.
That's not that much.
No,
10,000
miles.
a
I mean,
year.
if you're going to get a
Nothing.
Tesla, you want to drive that
Yeah.
thing. You want to go on some road trips.
But then you are going to hit, I guess, like the sort of the distance, like will kind of stop you at times. 'Cause you can't just go on like a road trip.
Yeah.
You won't be able to go on like a nationwide road trip. But
yeah, I guess. But I mean, if you do it West Coast, I would think you'd be able to find.
That's
enough
exactly
charging
what I would
stations.
want to do. I would like to plan out my route and hit all those
Oh, hit all-
charging
yeah.
stations and see, if I could, go cross country in my new Tesla. That would be fun.
That sounds like a DT article right there. That's what you should work on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? You think this is as far as marketing wise, as far as production wise, I mean, obviously it's a huge advancement. I think it certainly gives them the upper hand over anybody
Yeah.
else.
Well,
with
Considering
electric
what
vehicles.
electric vehicles used to look like just 5 or 6 years ago,
Yeah.
they were like oversized roller skates,
still kind of do, aside from Teslas.
Yeah,
you
aside
know?
from Tesla. And range was really limited.
Yeah.
We were excited when the Chevy Bolt and then Volt came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was even car
That was
DT's.
the best tech of
product of the year.
CES actually was what
Yeah.
we gave it. Because
But
it had long distance,
This
long
just
range
blows
as well.
all of that
Yeah.
away. Like, I'm impressed. I think it's really cool that a electric vehicle is not just competing well with traditional gas engines, but I mean it's killing them, absolutely killing them.
Yeah, it kind of makes electrics impossible to ignore at this point,
Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't care how much you're gasoline in your blood,
Mm-hmm.
old school car guy. Like you have to pay attention to Tesla when they can claim to make the fastest production car in the world. It's 0 to
Exactly.
60 in 2.5 seconds.
It reminds me of that movie Who Killed the Electric Car, and today that it's like, well, it's not dead anymore.
Yeah.
It's not dead. The electric car is not killed, and I think maybe I'm going to say 2.5 years, and the electric vehicle is going to have a
Supplant
stranglehold.
gasoline. Well, I think a lot of people that own a lot of like gasoline reserves are selling them off like for pennies on the dollar because they see the same thing. It's hard to ignore. Electric cars are becoming the future, and I think Tesla's way more popular overseas, I would imagine, than it is here in the States. But I still see so many driving around Portland, and the Model S's even too. I see them all over the
up
place.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're not cheap. Like
No, they're not. They're not. But I mean, I guess over the long run, if you are going to use it a lot, if you commute, even, here, say you commute 40 miles a day, if you're 20 miles out of town going in
right.
and out.
And you're spending no money on gas.
No money
Yeah.
on gas. You just charge it on electric as long as you got a good electric deal. I mean, you're really probably going to save quite a bit of money on
Yeah.
that. You would have to, I think, do that. Otherwise, I mean, it's cool to drive around. I'm not saying I wouldn't
I
want
know.
to drive
Give me
one.
Right.
give me 20 minutes
Don't
in one of
get me
those
wrong.
suckers with ludicrous mode on, and
Yeah.
I'm set for the rest of the year.
Right? Yeah. I'd like
happiness achieved.
I'd like a Lamborghini too, but that doesn't mean I can go get one. Still, it's an impressive movement. I think this really will make a big difference in their marketing and getting into that
Yeah.
other realm, like getting it into the populace and like those people who are blood, gasoline. I'm a gas car man. I'm not going to switch from that. Well,
I hung out with about 1,500 of those people last night at PIR. There was this big cruise in, the dude with the modified hearse that's just this huge, muscle car now.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys, there wasn't a single electric vehicle there. Not one.
yeah. Well, those kind of guys, that's the kind of guys I think that eventually they'll have to.
We'll have to
if somebody
confront
brings
them.
a Tesla out there and can beat them off the line, they'll have to pay attention. They may not like it. You may not want to stick around afterward, but but they'll see.
Fleeing
keep
in
driving
your,
right
as your car runs out of juice.
Yeah, you can only go so far. In the chat right now, we've got looks like John from the UK, and he said, "I would disagree with that. I think that the US is Tesla's best market at the moment. I haven't seen a single Tesla in the UK." So
I was thinking more like my thought was like in like places like Dubai or something where I
Right,
think that
yeah.
Tesla has, where I think like more people can afford it. I imagine, but I could just be.
But they also have
false.
dirt cheap gasoline in Dubai. So there's
Fair
that.
enough,
So
right.
it's like the one incentive that's like, I can own a supercar that's really good at that doesn't use any gasoline in Dubai. I guess that doesn't really play.
Right. I was actually when I was in New Orleans last week, gas was $1.87 a gallon, so it's pretty cheap in some places in the States too.
$1.87.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's also flooded out, so nobody can drive anywhere.
Fair enough. But
Oh.
let's not even go there.
Need it
but-
for your boat.
yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Boat engines. Yeah.
All right. Well, there we go. Let us know what you think about Tesla. And if you have any comments, please drop those into the chat or send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. All these articles are on the website. So somebody else in the news today, and this is an interesting one for a number of reasons, and it has to do with WhatsApp. And WhatsApp, in case anybody doesn't know, was purchased by Facebook a couple years ago. I just looked it up. $19.3 billion is what they
That's a
paid
big
for
payday.
WhatsApp. That is a nice payday. However, Facebook does own it now. And one of the big things about WhatsApp it's especially popular overseas is that, you have complete privacy, supposedly, encrypted communication, private communication. You can get to anybody and you don't have to worry about anybody getting into it. There's even been lawsuits. I think Brazil, didn't they jail one of the Facebook guys because he wouldn't let them get into WhatsApp? That's how good it's been. However, it is owned by Facebook, and there's been a big kind of freak out that's happened today because of an announcement that part of their new privacy user agreements that you have to agree to is that Facebook now gets access to your phone number and that they want to tie it to your Facebook account. They're claiming that it's never going to post for you on Facebook. Facebook won't have access necessarily to your communication. They're saying that's still going to be private, but they want to know more, and this is why it's kind of vague. They want to know more about your habits so that they can incorporate business into it more and essentially get into the monetization factor of it. That, to me...
So that means they're going to be reading your text messages then.
Exactly. I mean,
they claim not, though.
They claim
but
not.
how would they learn your habits?
They might have access to who you're contacting at different times, but not necessarily the content of those messages.
Oh, and then it would go branch out.
Because I guess they want companies to hop on WhatsApp. So they might notice that you're chatting with Amazon or something, and
Domino's
then on
or something,
Facebook now I can give you more Amazon ads because I know you're connecting with them on WhatsApp. I mean, that's in theory, right? Who really knows what level of access they have? But they claim they're not going to be able to read your messages still.
Because wasn't there issues with Facebook Messenger being not that safe and too much information was people were giving Facebook by signing up for Messenger and downloading it on your phone?
That's what everybody thought was happening for sure, because that's why there was a big backlash against using Facebook Messenger a while ago. I'm
just wondering what Facebook thinks it can gather from WhatsApp that it's not gathering from its own users. Like, I mean, if they know this person uses WhatsApp, then don't they know what they need to know to monetize? I don't know. I just don't understand what the strategy is.
Are there more WhatsApp users than Facebook users? I can't imagine.
I think it's over 1 billion right now as far as downloads, WhatsApp. But again, a lot of that is overseas, and who knows? That means it's been downloaded that many times. It could be the same user with 10 different phones who's downloaded at different times. But
I'm going to get WhatsApp now, and I am going to message exclusively random people in Colombia and just let them sort of
and see what happens.
How many narcotics advertisements?
Like, hey, did you know that Narcos is on Netflix?
Yeah.
Big fan. Well, I just think with Facebook getting involved, you have to question how this is going to work. I mean, and can any app ever be truly private? Can you trust anything like that? I mean, because nobody's going to put out a product that's completely free. Oh, I don't want to make any money on this. I mean, I guess some people do, but not if it's at this level. There's too much money to be made. One thing they did say that they were looking at, their example was if somebody's communicating with their bank and they want a private communication line, that they could develop that through WhatsApp. But again, then you're bringing banks into it. But there's just so much opportunity for that to be, I would think, corrupted or just monetized, and people are reading your stuff.
So outside of the privacy question, though, I mean, do you want to contact companies via WhatsApp? Like, if you're like, I got this thing off Amazon and now I need to return it, I need to talk to somebody. Am I going to fire up WhatsApp to talk to a representative?
Text somebody, right?
I don't really know that that's a platform that I would care to use for that. I can't really think of an instance where it's like, oh, WhatsApp is the perfect way for me to get a hold of this company and transact the way I need to with them. I don't see that happening.
We may not be the target market for it either. It may be a younger audience that they're looking for with this, who's already used to this kind of communication and doesn't want to ever talk to somebody in person and just wants to send a text. I mean, that could be part of it as well. There's definitely money to be made. It's just the privacy issue, I think, is the big concern. And it's obviously enough that people are definitely worried about it today. And I'm curious, those of you watching, if you use WhatsApp, if you're concerned by this, or if this would be something that would keep you from using it. I've downloaded it, but I don't really know a lot of people that use it. So it's really just kind of sat there on my phone.
Yeah, I don't do WhatsApp or Snapchat.
Those,
in fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to use those apps.
Yeah, I think you said that before. Yeah. I do know my girlfriend uses WhatsApp, and she uses it to communicate with a friend of hers who lives in Australia. So it's good for them to communicate that way. And like her and her friends are all in a chat group, and she also works internationally as well too. It keeps her connected that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't have WhatsApp downloaded on my phone. I've never used it myself either.
But why WhatsApp instead of, say, Google Hangouts, which is terrible? example. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have used that as an example. Except for Jeff Van Camp, invited me to a Google Hangout the other day. It's like, okay, I guess.
It's going to the AOL chat
So
session.
there are a lot of other different chat
ICQ.
options out there that you're already using. Facebook,
Yeah.
Messenger among them. Are you really? How many people are talking about things so secretive that they'd really be at risk of having those discovered by people at Facebook?
I guess it's just the idea of people being able to read all of your information and what they can gather from getting in there. All your personal information. But then again, I mean, you have your personal information everywhere anyway if somebody wants it.
Right. So what's one more app?
Yeah.
My life's an open book at this point. If you want to know what's going on, just visit my Facebook page. It's all right there.
Just listen to past podcasts.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's all there.
It's all out there, man. I've given up on the idea of privacy.
Yeah.
Totally. Just completely given up.
Okay, that's it. You've already conformed. You're part of it.
You've
joined the Matrix. You plugged in.
I've just surrendered.
I don't know. The Matrix seems kind of fun.
Plus, for me, anytime I was really seeking privacy, it was usually because I was doing something bad. It's like I don't want this person on Craigslist to know who I really am.
What are you doing on Craigslist?
They're gonna find out when you meet up for your casual encounter anyway. They're gonna find out who you are.
Wait a minute. I've seen you on DT Daily.
What?
Friends with Benefits. You're that guy.
You just keep walking right on. I don't know you.
That's right. My name's Drew Prindle.
Exactly. Blame everything on Drew. It's perfect.
Well, there we go. WhatsApp. Anyways, we got some more things to get to here. This next one's just kind of it's a strange advancement in technology. I mean, if you want to talk about privacy, this is direct invasion. Technically, I mean, it's really invading you. But it's an advancement in medical technology. And it's this company that is talking about how they've developed an edible battery to assist in biomedical procedures. So there's... and I was reading through it, and I am not well versed in medical technology. I will say that.
This guy's dropping drugs.
I know this is the image. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll see it. Otherwise, if you're listening via podcast, you can go to our website and take a look.
Tony Robbins?
There's a man who looks like
happy.
Tony Robbins with a giant horse tranquilizer sized pill on his tongue that he's about ready to swallow, and that's I guess a promo for their batteries that they're developing. And the way this would work is it would work with a sensor or something, some kind of biomedical thing that somebody's got to swallow, that detects things for a while. It doesn't stay in their body forever. But those, I guess, they've got to where they're pretty safe. But the batteries are absolutely not that they've been using, according to them. And they've come up with a way to through a chemical battery that you can attach that's biodegradable, that you can digest. It's digestible, and you can swallow it with that. And it will power the device for as long as it needs. Then you'll have to take another one whenever it's time.
How do they connect? When you swallow...
It's a good question, and I've tried to ascertain that from what they've been talking about. And as of right now, it looks like what they're talking about are one-time use sensors. Like they need to sense something. Usually they'd have to put it in some other way, and now you can swallow. So it'd be attached with that when you take it down.
So I guess
it's a confusing concept.
The batteries that you would, I mean, they have sensors that you can eat, right, to look at your GI tract.
Exactly.
Now, before these batteries, but the batteries in those are still made of toxic materials. So if something gets lodged in you and does not come out, then that's not good. So what they're saying is, most of the time, people actually only have to take one of those once to resolve something. If you were in a situation where you had to regularly monitor yourself, it's not really safe to be regularly swallowing toxic batteries and hoping that they pass all the way through. So their idea is that they have this digestible one, which is actually they use melanin as part of the I think it's the cathode for the battery. It's crazy, which is skin pigment basically. And it produces a very tiny amount of electricity, but just enough to power a sensor or a camera or whatever. For 18 hours, which is about what it needs to get through you anyway, apparently. So kind of a really weird idea that we can use basically skin pigment in conjunction with a couple other chemicals that your body can readily digest to make a battery that you can just eat.
Yeah, right. That you could just swallow and have that work inside of your body.
I'm all for things being more digestible. You you talk about having things go in and not come out. I'm pretty sure some beef jerky I ate the other day, no evidence that ever passed through.
Were you looking for it?
Well, no, I just the circumstances were such that
Yes,
Fair enough.
as it
camping.
happens.
I was camping.
Yada yada yada.
Sorry, I can't help
Again,
it. I just,
more aware
Caleb's
than
life
usual.
is
I
just
just no.
out
I
here.
see. I see the battery, and I think, yeah, you're swallowing that. How do you know whether it's passed or not? You have to look and make sure. And does this thing just dissolve, or do you actually have to?
No,
pass the
I
I think the
believe
idea is it'll dissolve.
it will
right?
dissolve. Yeah,
completely
it will
biodegradable.
dissolve inside you.
Wow.
So and then that's it. Yeah, it lasts for as long as it
Unlike
needs to.
turkey, it will dissolve inside you.
Well, I would hope that they would start using these in the implantable pumps that treat cancer pain and things like that. Like, I mean, those things, as far as I know, they're using, lithium ions or something like that.
Yeah.
They're usually in metal casings, but I mean, if anything went wrong there, you're definitely exposing yourself to toxic elements. I mean,
Yeah.
That would be bad if one of those ruptured. I look at what happened to the batteries I left in my Maglite, for too long, and I'm like, oh my God, if that happened inside you, you're definitely dying.
Like corrosion.
Yeah, it's not good. There's a lot of acid and ugh.
Just imagine what the jerky's doing to you right now.
So you're not going to be first in line to test this out then.
I don't know. Probably not.
He might be after these GI problems.
Well, I know.
You might be one of the first to swallow one of these sensors.
I am due for a doubleheader endoscopy and colonoscopy. So if they could just hurry up with this tech, that would be awesome. Because it sounds a lot less involved the way they're doing it here.
I'll get you their email address. You can write that in
You
there.
can swallow one on DT Daily.
Yeah, hey,
We can
right
live
now.
stream the feed.
You can look just like that guy. I want you to smile like that
Right,
dude was.
so
though.
happy to do
Yeah,
that, yeah.
so happy that that's happening.
Yeah, there he is again. Can't
I'm
wait.
about to photograph my insides.
You're about to see my esophageal sphincter.
Yeah, and I'm so sick right now.
All right, let's go on. We got a couple more things to get to here. This next one, this is a video that's been circulating around, and it's being called a crash. So I warn you, it's very graphic, very detailed. It's not at all.
Shut your eyes. Here it comes.
Yeah, it is this new airship, which is the world's largest aircraft. It's called the Airlander 10, and it's basically a giant blimp. Is what it would be, a blimp or a Zeppelin, and it's huge. And the idea is that it can ferry eventually freight into difficult to get areas, or like if there's a disaster, they can bring this thing in and they can drop in all kinds of stuff.
A gopher was temporarily suffocated just
Yeah,
there.
right,
Now,
yeah.
And that's about it.
The crash is the nose of it. This
even somebody
inflatable
said
nose touched the ground. It came in at a little sharp angle. This is being circulated as a giant crash. The idea, though, behind this crash-worthy vehicle is pretty incredible. I mean, you could really do a lot. I think it was, God, I'm looking it up right now. Of course, I don't have it on me, but it's multiple tons of freight that it could carry in to all kinds of difficult-to-get areas.
It looks like it's difficult to fly. I don't know
does
how.
still
Still working that out.
Yeah.
That's the part, that's if they can't even land it without freight, without slamming the nose into the ground.
In a open grassy field.
Right. There's like a house over there or something that people are just like, please don't fly this over here.
I don't know, though. It doesn't really seem like any damage could be done.
Well, not to it.
They
But-
showed, so you can't really tell from that video, but they showed a close up of the cockpit on that thing, and it's just ripped open.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Like
So
it
it
was
is that bad.
real.
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
It doesn't really look like that much from that angle.
No, it doesn't.
But the cockpit is in the front, right where it smashed into the ground, and that thing was just like.
Oh, yeah, and the guy's like
Torn
completely
open.
open.
Yeah.
Was
We
it
see the
unmanned
picture.
at the time?
No, I think there was a pilot in there, but I think he was fine. Like I think he escaped injury,
Stepped
but
back.
it definitely the blimp was messed up.
Well, that's too bad.
So there's definitely some work left to be done.
Is that the photo?
Yeah,
the
there
photo
is a
right
photo,
there,
and I'm
yeah.
sorry I didn't have that for if you're watching via video. We'll get that up afterward. But yeah,
I've seen people say that the blimp kind of looks like it's shaped like a butt, kind of, because it's
It
like
does.
two
Yeah, from
things.
behind.
Yeah.
it does look like that. Yeah, it does look like a
Why are we? Blimps have been around for a while.
Yeah.
Why are we just now getting to the big blimp idea? It's like we've had the blimps. They're flying around the football stadiums.
Every Monday night.
Here's
right,
a great idea. Let's make them huge.
Got to
I
carry
don't
all
know
that stuff.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like if we really needed this, we could have done it a long time ago. This is not rocket science.
Right.
Definitely not.
This is
It's
the
not
opposite of
that.
that.
For one thing, rockets crash way harder. There's a lot more fire involved.
It looks way cooler.
People definitely die, and usually millions of dollars are lost.
Well,
this one,
yeah, the pilot
I've
doesn't
seen
just walk
kids
out of
in
it.
bouncy houses do more damage than what I just saw right now.
I believe its nickname in the UK is the Flying Bum. That's what they're calling it. So, and it does kind of look that way.
How can we land a rocket on a tiny platform at sea that
Like
has been
7
into
times.
space?
Yeah, right.
But we cannot land a blimp in an open, quiet, grassy field at like 1.5 miles an hour.
We don't have the technology
because
for that.
physics, apparently, you know.
That's apparently it. Well, there we go. That crashed. All right. We should talk about what we're referencing at the beginning, which is, Caleb, you're about ready to head off to Berlin, which is this coming week. So we've got a lot of coverage that's going to be for this on Digital Trends, and it is for IFA, which is. You go ahead and if you can.
I cannot
Okay.
pronounce what IFA stands for. It's like International Telefunkenscheidenfruited. I don't know.
That's the official terminology, but you can just call it IFA.
You can just call it IFA. It is like Europe's CES. I mean, it's about the same size. The difference here is public can go, whereas CES, they don't let the public in.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of the big major manufacturers bring their latest technologies to show off. And of course, it's cool for us because Europeans get very different kinds of, especially in the appliance world. They get all kinds of different appliances and stuff, sometimes before we do. But we get to see a lot of the latest technologies, the newest applications of stuff, and it kind of informs our CES coverage ahead of time. Anyway,
So
I'm really
idea.
excited. We've got a big team going over there this year. We're going to have more coverage of what's going on out there than before. And we're expecting some cool stuff, a lot of cool new mobile stuff. I know the mobile team will be really super busy. I'm hoping for some glints of TV development because, that's my shtick.
Right.
Love doing the TVs. Always some really fun audio systems and again, appliances, robot vacuums. I think robots are going to be big this year.
Yeah.
But we do have, I believe we're running an article later this week or over the weekend about what we expect at IFA. I would check that out. And then, starting next week, around Tuesday or Wednesday, it's going to be all IFA all the time. We'll have a steady stream of information coming from the show, and for definitely for West Coasters, but also for East Coasters. I mean, all of that stuff will have already happened, so you'll get like a fresh serving of the latest tech news right off the bat when you wake up in the morning.
That's great. So that'll all be at digitaltrends.com, direct from IFA. And one other thing, too, if you are here in the Portland area, the Project Pabst, which is, if you've never heard of it, it's a huge 2-day festival that's happening here in Portland over the weekend. And Digital Trends is one of the sponsors and is going to have a whole charging station there for your phone.
Yeah, the PB Arcade, right?
Yeah, at the PB Arcade, which I got to say, I am excited to see Ice Cube.
I was going to ask you.
Ice Cube's, it's Ice Cube, Duran. I know this is just a side thing, but it's really cool that DT's a part of it. It's Ice Cube, Duran, Ween, Andrew WK, all kinds of these people that it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I met Ice Cube one time, a little bit nervous about if I see him again. I met him when I worked in radio, and he was at the station, and I saw him in the hallway. I'm like, oh my God, that's Ice Cube. I got to go meet him. And I was so nervous about it for some reason, even though there were celebrities there all the time, but I got nervous about him just because he's Ice Cube. And he's walking down the hall, and I'm like, hey, Ice Cube. And he smiled. He's like, hey, man, because he knew we were taking pictures. And he held his arm out, just assuming I was going to take a picture. And I wrapped my arm in, but for some reason, I thought I just freaked out. I went for the hug. Yeah, and I wrapped my arm around the other side, and it was one of the most awkward situations I've ever been in my life. And he just
Did they take a picture of it?
No, he looked at me. He's like, "All right, man." Nice
to meet you.
I know. I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I turned around and ended up taking a picture with him. But very nice guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him. So Digital Trends part of that this weekend. If you're here in the Portland area, go to the charging station. Don't try to hug Ice Cube, though. I don't think he really wants that necessarily. That's probably not a good idea. Anyway, there we go. So we do this show every week, every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, live here at digitaltrends.com and on YouTube. And we do like to hear comments. So if you have anything, you have some questions, things you think we should cover, send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com, or comment on this video, because the video will live on this page forever. So you can go there and comment there, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher and all those places where you can get them. We also have tomorrow coming up at 2 p.m. Between the Streams, which is the entertainment show. So join us for that too. And thanks, guys. Caleb, safe travels.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with another episode.
You know what they call it?